Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Endless TBR. My name is Christian, and this is my YouTube channel where I love to talk about books. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to click on this video where I want to share the books that I plan on reading in August of 2026. Now we have a very rare occasion for this month. There are no books from July that are bleeding over into August. I actually finished all of the books that I planned to read last month, plus a few extra, and that is the first time I can say that in 2026. So, very excited for that. I think the main reason is because I decided to take summer B off of school. So, I had nothing but time all of July to sit back, relax, and read some books. And I'm very excited for August because my school doesn't start back up until August 24th. So I pretty much have three-fourths of the month to continue to try to read as much as possible. And the goal for the next couple months is to knock out as many of those reading goals that I set for myself, really focusing on the series that I need to complete. So I have a very ambitious lineup here for August. Going to try to get through as much of it as I can. And yeah, let's get into it. So I'm going to start off with the books that I'm absolutely going to read. These are the ones I'm going to try to knock out first. I did join a new book club. I had one going with me, my fiance, and my friends, and then a bunch of my coworkers were interested in starting a book club. So I did start one with them. So the book that we're going to be doing for that workbook club is this one called Girl Dinner by Olivia Blake. This one was chosen by my friend. She kind of described it as like a happy, fun horror novel. So I don't know anything about it, but she said that she likes Olivia Blake a lot as an author, and I'm going to be listening to this one in audiobook format. So that is book club number one. Book club number two with my fiance and my friends. It was my month to choose a book, and so I chose this one right here. We have Odd Thomas by Dean Koontz. I've been on a big Dean Koontz kicker lately, like been really loving the things that he writes. So I decided to pick this one. It's the only other Dean Koontz book that I own that I haven't read yet. And the only thing I know about it is Thomas is like a fry cook or like a restaurant cook, and he has to fight like demons or interdimensional beings or something like that. It sounds very wacky and fun. And I know that when I go online and look up Dean Koontz books, this one is very frequently in like the top three that you have to read. So I'm going to be doing this one, hopefully exposing my fiance and my friends to some good Koontz. And I think this is a series with a lot of books, like 7 or 8 different books in it. So maybe if I like it a lot, I'll keep the series going, but very excited for this one. Besides the 2 book club picks, I also have my nostalgia pick of the month. I'm going to be finishing out this series. I have Breaking Dawn right here by Stephanie Meyer. Been reading Twilight for the last 3 months and figured it would be a good time to just keep it going, just finish it. I do remember when I read these books, this one was definitely my favorite when it comes to the 5 movies. The Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2, I think, are definitely the most exciting. So I'm excited to complete this series. Have been enjoying it. It's been very consistently enjoyable. Not the greatest books of all time, but I have been particularly looking forward to reading this one right there. So I think after this, so every month I do what's called a nostalgia pick. If you haven't watched a lot of my videos, it's basically I go back to my childhood and I pick a book from a series or a standalone book that I remember reading when I was younger, and I go through and read it. And I've been doing that consistently every month since I started this channel. Recently, the last 4 months have been the Twilight books. I might, depending on how I do for my reading goals for the next couple months, I might forego picking a nostalgia pick for like September, October, maybe November, because I have a lot of books to get through. I pretty much have to knock out like 8 Dune books within the next couple months. So this might be the last nostalgia pick for a while, but if I do really good this month, that might not be the case. But gonna be reading Breaking Dawn there. All right, next up, speaking of Dune books, I am going to try to knock out 2 this month. I don't think there's been a month so far yet that I've read 2 Dune books, but I have to read like 8 or 9 more before the end of the year. So 2 a month is pretty much going to be the standard. So the next 2 that I have to read are Dune House Carino. This is book 3 in the Prelude to Dune trilogy. I have been having a really hard time getting through this trilogy. I have not loved it, and House Harkonnen took me pretty much all of July to get through. I read, a little bit here, would take a break, 50 pages here, would take a break. I did like House Harkonnen a little bit more than House Atreides, so that was a step up. Hopefully, House Carino is a little better than House Harkonnen, and we can kind of end this trilogy on a high note. But of the 3 Brian Herbert trilogies that I've read so far, this one has definitely been my least favorite. I have some thoughts on why, but I'll save that for another video when I kind of do my recap on House Harkonnen. But gonna try to finish out that trilogy. This is another huge book. This one, like the last 2, is I think the shortest of the 3, but it's still about 650 pages long, so quite a chunky book. And then I'm also gonna try to read Princess of Dune right here. This is a standalone that focuses on Chani, and this one is a lot more manageable. It's about just under 400 pages. It looks like 385. So I haven't read a Brian Herbert Dune book that's been under like 600 pages since forever, I think. I think every single book that I've read by him has been like massive. So very excited to get into this one and the Caladan trilogy, which seem to be much smaller. So gonna knock out those 2 Dune books, and then I have a goal to read one Stephen King book every month for this year. I was super confident I was going to keep it going and read one in July, but I did not. So that means I'm going to have to read 2 in August. The first one is going to be The Running Man right here. I'm reading him in publication order currently, and then this was the next one up. But I think after The Running Man, I'm going to break from the publication order. Mainly, the next one is The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger, and I kind of want to save that for next year and have that be one of like my reading goals that I try to finish for next year is to read all of the Dark Tower books. I want to read them back to back. I don't want to take big breaks between them. So I'm going to skip the Dark Tower. But then also, I've been buying a lot of Stephen King books at the discount section of like my local bookstores. And I've accumulated dozens and dozens, probably like 30 to 40 plus Stephen King books. And a lot of them are not in publication order. I kind of just pick up whichever ones I see on sale. So I'm accumulating this huge backlog of Stephen King books that are taking up a ton of space in my room. So I think I'm going to knock out a couple of those and then go back to publication order once I've gone through some of the books that I already own in an effort to try to buy not as many books for the rest of the year. So the next one's going to be Christine right here. This one's actually not too far ahead in publication order. I think it's like The Gunslinger, and then I'm skipping different seasons for now. And then after that, it's Christine. But then after this one, there's like 7 or 8 books in publication order that I do not own, so I might be skipping around a little bit there, but very excited for Christine. I've owned this one since day 1. My grandmother actually gave this to me a long time ago when she passed away, and I just have not read it. I know it's about a, possessed car, and it's just been sitting on my bookshelf for, like, 10 plus years, so I'm very excited to get into this one and check out Christine. So those are all the books that I'm like 100%. Oop, they're about to fall over. 100% definitely going to read this month. If I'm having an awesome month and I get through all of those, there's 2 other books that I'm going to try to squeeze in when it comes to the physical books. We have Inferno by Dan Brown. This is book 4 in the Robert Langdon series. Trying to read all 6 of these books before 2026 is over. So I will check this one out if I can get to it. And then this one is a stretch by far. This is definitely probably going to be a September read. But if things are going really good, like I said, school starts August 24th. I have like 3 weeks to just sit back, relax, and continue to read as much as possible. The next one after that will be The Fireman by Joe Hill. I only have 2 Joe Hill books left, and we have this one and King Sorrow. They are his 2 biggest books. I think I kind of like subconsciously have been pushing The Fireman off and off because it's so big. It's like, let's see, over 700 pages, about 750 pages right here. But I do need to finish it. I want to save King Sorrow for last. So if things go great, I will also start chipping away at this. But very, very likely that this one will be a September read. But it's good to have high aspirations and try to meet those goals. And then finally, we'll go into audiobooks. I already mentioned Girl Dinner, which is going to be the first audiobook I listen to. But then I have also made the decision that I'm going to continue the Red Rising series in audiobook format. I read the first one physically, but I was looking at all the books that I need to finish to meet my 2026 goals, and I decided I kind of needed to transition one of those series to audiobook format so I can, get in as much as possible. So I have Golden Sun and Morning Star already queued up in my Libby app, ready to go and start. And then I have Iron Gold, which is book 4 in that series, on hold, and it should be available within the next couple days. It says available soon. So my big goal for August is to knock out all 3 of those audiobooks, and then I only have to finish 2 more of the Red Rising books by the end of 2026, which will be much more manageable considering all of the other Dune books that I have physically, and I have to knock those out in physical format. So, yeah, so those are all the books that I plan on reading in August of 2026. Again, high aspirations, a lot of pages, but the way July went, it went really well. I surpassed my reading goal by so much. So I'm riding a high and I'm feeling good about the month. But let me know if you have read any of these books that I have mentioned in this video. If you have any thoughts about them, let me know what you're going to be reading for August of 2026. And in a couple days here, probably around Thursday, I'll be posting my reading review and recap for like the 13 plus books that I read in July of 2026. So stay tuned for that. Thank you again so much for watching. My name is Christian. Y'all have a great day. Peace out.